Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Let's Talk About It, a weekly podcast with your host, your girl, me, RenaeThaDiva. And we come on live each week on all social media streams. You'll see I have several devices if you're looking at one of my devices here. And we have special guests that we discuss things that are going on in our cities, in our states, in our nation, and all over, along with some entertainment and some sports. So tonight we have something a little bit different for you. I think you guys will definitely appreciate that. He's actually our special guest. He is Mr. Stacy Huff, and he is actually going to come on and do our sports for us here shortly. So let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? Let's talk about it. So let me first of all say thank you to our sponsors, Mr. Kenneth Brown with SEDM, of course, Legacy Collection, and all of those who have supported our podcast. If you are looking to do a sponsorship for our show or a series of shows, you can email us at legacyentstudios@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to get you our sponsorship package. Let's go ahead and get started, okay? Let's talk about it. So, unfortunately, Monday made a year officially that the war between Israel and Hamas started. There have been thousands and thousands of casualties, and there are still even active captives. It's not looking that this situation or this war is going to end anytime soon, and we are just really keeping all those involved in prayer. I know the U.S., again, as I mentioned last week in our show, even here in Indiana, our National Guard has activated and sent a troop to go into some training, and they are going to go into the Iraq area from what we've been told. So, again, just keeping all of our servicemen and women in prayer. Hi to those all on social media. Please like, share, follow. We are on YouTube as well. Make sure you like and subscribe to that channel. It is Renee, RenaeThaDiva, or the studios page, which is Legacy Entertainment Studios as well. We appreciate you. Thank you. So, unfortunately, the weather has just been weathering. We just got through Hurricane Helene last week, and now Hurricane Milton is on the horizon. It is affecting the coastline and is expected to make landfall sometime on tomorrow. The coastline, especially the Tampa area and surrounding, is expected to be affected. Right now, they are saying that Milton is registering at a hurricane level, a category level 5. So again, we're just keeping those people in our prayers. They are encouraging those that are in the area, if you can, to get out of the area, to maybe come further inland, and just make sure that, again, you are staying safe. So if you're choosing to stay there in the Tampa area, make sure that you have supplies. Make sure that, again, you are being vigilant about the weather, the going on. They're saying not only are they expecting high rain and water content, that Hurricane Milton, which is a little bit different than Helene, is going to have more winds along with it also. So just again, praying for the area. Poet and activist, the late Miss Maya Angelou becomes the first African-American woman to be listed on the U.S. quarter. So we just say congratulations on that, to her and her family. We definitely just, again, send much love to all who appreciate it. Miss Maya Angelou, she had some dynamic poems that still resonate to this day. So here in Indianapolis, the infamous Lafayette Square Mall, the revitalization for it is just going down the toilet. It's just the easiest way to put it. Unfortunately, the new owners have plans to put some high-rise apartments in the area, also some outdoor shopping to really revitalize that area, and now decided not to do so. They have decided to just go ahead and tear down all the buildings over there and go from there. I'm thinking they probably will end up selling the land. And it's been cited that a lot of the reasoning for not doing the revitalization, we are live, but they were saying that a lot of reasons why they're not going to go ahead and complete that now, of course, is financial reasons and funding. I guess that could not get all the partners to go in with them and get that done. So again, it's just furthering the demise of Lafayette Square. We definitely hope that someone comes in and revitalizes that area because, again, there's a lot of people to live there. There's a lot of services that are needed. It is considered a food desert over there. There are not any active grocery stores other than maybe the Meijer. And in that immediate area, if you have to go like maybe at least 5 to 10 miles to get to a real actual grocery store. So Again, hoping someone does come in and picks up that. So I'm not going to do sports today because, again, Mr. Stacy Huff, who is going to come on in just a moment, will do that for us, and we're just excited about that. He is actually a sports analyst, so I look forward to hearing his views. But I will talk just a little bit about some entertainment. So Indianapolis native and filmmaker Sean Landrum has landed a distribution deal that's international with the Belize Global Media. So we just say congratulations to Sean on his distribution deal, and we look forward to seeing many films from you, and you being just the next Sean Landrum. I won't even say the next Tyler Perry or whoever. You are who you are, and we just congratulate you. So just a quick commercial break before I bring our special guest on. Thank you again to all of our show viewers, our sponsors, our special guests. Again, if you are interested in sponsoring a show, a podcast, go ahead, please, and email us at legacyentstudios@gmail.com, and someone will get back with you. So I'm going to go ahead now and welcome our special guest, Mr. Stacy Huff, to go over our sports, and then we will talk to him about everything else we have going on, okay?
Thank you, RenaeThaDiva, representing Naptown and back down. I appreciate you having me on. Okay, so turn the love to the Naptown. I visited once. It was a nice spot. I enjoyed it. A lot to talk about in the world of sports. My name, as she mentioned, is Stacy Huff. I am in the state of South Carolina. I have a sports radio show that's on 4 stations in the central part of South Carolina and on MakeThePointRadio.com. Please write that down, www.MakeThePointRadio.com. You can listen to it in Naptown or wherever you may happen to be. So let's get right into some sports conversations, et cetera, for the next 35 minutes, if you would, please. And thank you. I began in the world of the National Football League, where news came out this morning of the firing of New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh was only 2-3. The team is 2-3 this year. He's only 20-36 over his 3+ seasons with the New York Jets. He was a former outstanding coordinator with the 49ers and bounced around the league a little bit, had a good resume, a lot of people thought. Get there, and he and Aaron Rodgers didn't see eye to eye. This is early. I think, to me, this is a little bit of a trying to find a scapegoat. 5 games into a season, especially when Aaron Rodgers missed all of last season except for 4 snaps and has played poorly this year. So for those who know who Aaron Rodgers is, won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, with the Jets, got a big contract at 38, 39 a couple years ago last year, and then got hurt towards Achilles. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks of all time. He's a former Super Bowl winner. He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. So he has the resume. But he and Robert Saleh do not sit horses, as the old folks used to say. My granddaddy and them used to say, they don't sit horses. So if you know Aaron Rodgers, one thing about him, he likes to go on the Joe Rogan show and the other shows and talk about conspiracy. He's a conspiracy theorist. If you go back to his anti-vax, so here's a conspiracy theory for you, Ron. I think he got your coach fired. I think he got his coach fired. They didn't get along. They didn't sit horses. And the offensive coordinator, Hackett, is Rodgers' one of his best buddies. So he didn't want the offensive coordinator to get fired. I think he went to ownership and got his head coach fired, Robert Saleh. So that, to me, that's a little unceremonial. They actually walked the man out with security. They actually walked him out the door as if he were a criminal this morning as the report comes out. That's unsavory to me. Staying right there in the National Football League for a moment, I'm going to cover some WNBA and Major League Basketball as well in my brief time here. But staying right there, 2 teams out of the gate fast this season, 5-0. 2 teams. There are only 2 undefeated teams in the National Football League. The Minnesota Vikings, who a lot of people did not see coming, and the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been arguably the best team over the last 5-6 years in the National Football League. 2 things about that. Minnesota doing it with a quarterback that had bounced around a little bit, getting a second chance. And the quarterback of the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, is a guy who we all expect great things from. But here's an interesting thing. They've won 11 games in a row now, including the Super Bowl last year. Barely won the Super Bowl, but 11 straight going back to last season. 5-0 at the gate. But none of them have been blowout wins. So they're quietly dominant. It's like you always feel like they're going to win. It's like Novocaine. Like you know it's going to work. You just have to wait for it. So that's kind of how they're beating people. They beat people with a Novocaine approach. So you kind of know if you let them hang around Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, and that crew at Kansas City, they will pull it out and snatch a victory from you late in the ball game, which is what they pretty much did last night as well. So 2 teams are 5-0. Some teams are struggling. The Panthers here in the Carolinas, where I am, they're one of the teams that are looking like they can't get right to the National Football League. If you remember the movie Life, they can't get right. They really can't get it right. They got some struggles. So they're the kind of can't get right. But a lot of teams have the win-win. The Jacksonville Jaguars, some other teams like that are out there as well. So real quickly, WNBA, the New York Liberty upset the Aces. I'm an Asia Wilson fan. I'm a Gamecock alum. So is she. My daughter's favorite player. The New York Liberty eliminated them the other night, and now they wait the winner of the Suns and the Lynx in the WNBA. That game was at Game 5. Best 3 out of 5. So this is the final game tonight that will decide who advances to the finals in the WNBA. The Suns versus the Lynx. And here's one little note before I move on. The Liberty have a 3-1 record against the Suns. If they meet them in the finals, they're 1-2 versus the Lynx. So depending on who wins this game tonight, whether the Liberty be a favorite or not, I think the Liberty win the WNBA championship this season. That was my pick earlier. It would be them or the Aces. I think since they eliminated the Aces, I'm going with the Liberty now. Also, real quick, Major League Baseball, all the series going, when we woke up today, were 1-1. All the playoff series, the Tigers and the Washington team, the Guardians, were 1-1. My Yankees, who will play later tonight, were 1-1 with the Royals. The Padres and Dodgers are 1-1, and the Phillies and Mets were 1-1. But if I look at my watch, right, looking at the not a Gucci, but it's about that time. Right about now, the Mets is definitely not a Gucci. It does count my steps, though. Thank you, praise the Lord. But the Mets are right now putting the beat down on the Phillies, so they'll be up 2-1 by the time this podcast is over, and that'll be the only series with a decided advantage. The rest of them will have that third and rubber game going into these best 4 out of 7 series. And again, I am a huge fan. Real quick, before I throw it back to RenaeThaDiva, 3 death. We have the third death. They come in threes. Louis Tiant, outstanding baseball player. One of my late grandfathers, the Reverend Ariel Huff's favorite players. Louis Tiant passed away. We got news of him passing away today. On the heels of last week, we lost Charlie Hustle Pete Rose, who was the hit king. I had all of us kids back in my generation sliding head first, getting chalk in the mouth and dust in the mouth and breaking wrists and getting hurt. Charlie Hustle passed away last year. And then Dikembe Mutombo, also a little over a week ago, passed away. And no shot block motion, no post celebration, no post play celebration. It's quite as iconic as the finger wag of Dikembe Mutombo, who's only 58 years of age. Pete Rose is 83, by the way, but 50, man, Dikembe Mutombo's a tough one. So, Renee, back to you. Let's look at the sports here on Talk About It. We just talked about it. And we can talk about it some more if you want to, Renee.
That's it. Of course. I appreciate you, Stacey. If you are just joining us, this is Let's Talk About It, a weekly podcast. And we do have with us special guest tonight, Mr. Stacey Huff of Huff Sports Nation. If I said that.
Huff Nation Sports.
Huff Nation Sports. There we go. I'm sorry. I reversed that. There we go. And then I do have in the comments there at the bottom in the ticker his website address. Please make sure that you tune in and follow, like, and share with Stacey as well. He is on 4 different platforms, 4 different stations, correct, Stacey, there in South Carolina?
Yes. And then in South Carolina on 100.7 FM, 92.9 ESPN in Orangeburg, South Carolina, where the South Carolina State Bulldogs play, 1470 AM, 1580 AM. But it doesn't matter. If you're worldwide, I'm on the 3 W's. www, the Word Wild Net, MakeThePointRadio.com, and then click on the listen button every Saturday at 10 a.m. MakeThePointRadio.com. Click on that listen button every Saturday, 10 to 11, and we'll chop it up just like I just did.
Awesome. Definitely appreciate you. You. So let's go ahead and get into the portion I like to call our question and answer session. So tell us a little bit about Stacey. How did you even become a sports analyst, and how did you get into it there in South Carolina?
Well, God is going to have his way. So growing up, I played 4 sports, and I was a well-read kid. So I read and studied. Didn't know what I was reading and studying for. I just loved it. So I was an advanced reader, and I was reading every summer in the book club. I was reading 25, 30 books a summer. It was always about Hank Aaron, Reggie Jackson, Hank Aaron, Walter Payton, etc. So long story short, I get into the corporate world after college. I'm in sales at a radio station. I was selling advertising. So I know how to sell. I consult with that, by the way. I know how to sell sponsorships. So I was in sales, and I was at a station that was a conglomerate. It was under Citadel Communications back then. I think it's Cumulus now. And there was a station that was almost like a dead station in the building. And word got out that I was interested in sports, and one of the general managers said, we have an hour free on Saturdays. Let this kid take a shot and just do what he wants to with the hour. We won't not paying him anything. It won't be dead air. He can talk from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And the first time I cracked the microphone, all the reading came back. I played 4 sports. I read about it. I've coached AAU in the area. I know some things, but it was nobody knows you can, because you played in a coach, don't mean you can talk about it.
Right.
But it came so easy to me. And then I started doing I do play-by-play on TV as well for games in the area in the state of South Carolina. So it all just kind of came, but it was meant to be because I was in sales. I gave up on it. I thought I would never do it. And somebody just kind of said, hey, go walk in and give it a shot. And I was never nervous. It was always easy.
Like you said, when it's God's timing, it's God's timing. It truly is. So congrats on that. That is an awesome feat. And tell us about your everyday life. So I know you said that you actually do the 4 shows. You also do some games.
Yeah. So I'm my actual 9 to 5, so to speak. I'm the owner of a insurance brokerage. So I'm actually an insurance agent, and I do a brokerage here in the state of South Carolina. Other than the radio show on Saturdays, which over the last 23 years, I've done daily shows. But I do high school football and basketball on the Fox affiliate here in the Midlands of South Carolina. So we do 11 high school games when there's no hurricanes. We do. And by the way, praying for those. We touched hard here as an insurance agent. I'm seeing it on the homeowners. I'm seeing it in my 9 to 5. A lot of claims and the homeowners, a bad situation right now. But prayers and thoughts out to everyone who's been through Helene, and now with Milton on the way. We're batting down the hatches. We know the next couple of days may be very, very tough. But that being said, yes, I do PA announcing as well. So I do local high school games. When I'm not on TV on Fridays, I do Tuesday night games. I do PA at a couple of local high schools here. So I always keep a microphone somewhere nearby. I love it, and I have a passion for it, and I love helping these kids, the local kids. I try to help them get scholarships as well if I can.
Okay. Awesome. Again, yes, I definitely understand the insurance thing. That is also my day job as an insurance agent and broker here in Indianapolis and a few other states. So I'm definitely seeing, communications, the aftermath of Helene and soon to be Milton, I'm sure. So definitely, again, like you said, prayers to all those out there. Kind of, if you are staying in the area, make sure you are secure and just, yes, because
the bad thing, Renee, is I had a friend of mine in the sports world called me this past Monday and put his wife on the phone. His mother-in-law, his wife's mother, found out the week before that her insurance had lapsed. As she looked out and it was trees in the yard, something leaning on the house. It was a mess around her. It's an older lady, and I tell people all the time, I came on to talk about sports, but you and I both know to tell people, check your policies, make sure they're active and valid and cover what you need covered before, because once the storm, nobody's going to honor, nobody's going to take her phone calls. Nothing's going to happen now because she was not covered in the time of a storm. So please, word to the wise, check your policies, make sure you have everything you need covered.
Yes, please do. Please do. I try not to intertwine them too often, but it's very important. Please make sure your policies are active, whether it's renters, homeowners, whichever you have. In the commercial sense, make sure that you have commercial policies in place for business owners. It's just very important. It's necessary.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And then also make sure that you have life insurance. I mean, I say this several times, in different platforms. GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy.
No, it's not. We got to get away from that mentality.
Yes, please. So contact Stacy or myself if you are looking to be insured, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with that. Okay, so in other news, since we are on Let's Talk About It, a sports podcast, or a podcast rather, and you're doing the sports portion for today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my Colts. What are your predictions? What do you think about them?
Okay, so you guys have Flacco, I believe it is, has taken over now for the young fella. You're going to have a bit of a controversy coming because when you draft somebody as high as you drafted a young man, you want to see him play. You want to see him nurture and develop, because those contracts, I think 3 years, maybe a 4th year option, either team or player. So the first 3 years, you got to decide whether that was a good draft pick or not. This is year 2. He got hurt last year, I believe, at some point. This is year 2. So you halfway into this decision time. So I know Flacco is playing well. At some point, you got to get the kid back out there to see what he can do. But as far as how the team overall, they got a shot. I mean, the AFC is going to be interesting this year. They have a shot, though. And one thing about the National Football League, not for long. So anybody can get hot. Anything can happen. It's hard to predict what these teams are going to do. But Flacco, how long can he keep the youthful? He ran the other day, keep the legs going, stay healthy. I mean, he can help you win games, but y'all got a decision to make, because you got him winning now And the young buck, you got to see him play. That's a big investment. You got to see what that investment is going to do.
For sure, for sure. And we definitely are hoping and wishing the best for him. It is yet to be decided if he's going to play in this coming Sunday's game. Um,
Yeah.
and as you said with Flacco, I think that he's a good addition, but I don't know that he's actually getting comfortable in the role because maybe he feels like he can't get comfortable in the role.
Right. Because when you got a first or second round draft pick sitting there, it comes from up top. You're the two dynamics in sports. You have the locker room dynamic where the players will show you by their action who they think the leader is, but the owner will tell you about the paycheck, and they'll tell you about some other ways who they think you better get ready to be the leader because they got to see they're gonna do everything they can to let Richardson be the guy. Because you draft somebody that high, if he doesn't work out, somebody's getting fired. Whoever decided to draft him, if he don't work out, that person's probably going to not be there. So they're going to give him every chance to succeed. By the way, I know the Fever. We both like the Fever, right? I'm a Fever fan. Aaliyah Boston's a Gamecock. I like Caitlin Clark. I like the whole team. I like Mitchell, although she may be leaving. Y'all got your hands on something special with the Fever. If y'all just let them cook, let them slow marinate, let them slow roast. It'll be good.
Yes, I agree. I think that this is just the beginning of a lot of what's to come for the Indiana Fever. I really hope that they keep the team dynamic the same for next season. But as you said, or as you stated, I think, that we may also have some people going to other teams. But, of course, it's yet to be seen. They are out of the WNBA playoffs for this year. But next year, in 2025, the WNBA playoffs will be here in Indy.
Good point. And, let me say this. One asterisk there, this is an expansion year. And the women's game hasn't seen it like the men's game saw when the Grizzlies came in. They were the Vancouver Grizzlies before the Memphis, remember? And the Toronto Raptors. I remember when the Hornets were expansion team. Well, what they're going to do is you can only protect 6 players on that roster. So every team has to decide which 6 they're going to keep, and the other 6 are going to be available for the Valkyries, the new team, to pick from. So that's the decision maker. The Fever better lock in who. And again, there's gonna be some feelings hurt. If you ain't one of those 6, then you're gonna be like, oh, you don't love me. So even if the Valkyries don't take you, you can look at that team like, why'd you leave me unprotected? Why'd you leave me out there? So you know what I'm saying. So that's gonna be a mind thing. So now you gotta keep the chemistry. When the business of sports says they gotta hug on 6 of them and leave the rest of the roster out there dangling. And how can the chemistry? You gotta get past that too. Every team has to do that. So.
Right. And I'm sure, contract negotiations and things of that nature are always going to play a part in which 6 they are protecting, so to speak. So,
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Definitely hoping the best for all of the players again, Unfortunately, we don't make those decisions. It's
nobody asked me. I will tell you, nobody asked me. I wish they would.
Because if they did, they may have a total different opinion. I'm like, no.
Truly. I'm a Lakers fan. The Lakers definitely would do some things different if it was up to me. But they didn't ask me. They asked LeBron, I think. That's it.
So, well, I'm sure they did, considering, the circumstances. So what is your opinion, or how do you feel about him and his son playing together?
I started to put that in my little opening comments. I'm good. I'm good with it. I saw when Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. did it, and I have another whole thing I do on my show, and I've had whole shows. I've been on panels. And LeBron is the most celebrated and hated athlete of this generation, and only because of one thing, because my generation won't let Jordan go. I love Jordan. He's great. Maybe still probably my one but because of LeBron dared to challenge Jordan's legacy, people hate on him. They can't see the good he's done. Man's been married to his high school sweetheart. He's been a good father, a great father. He's been a great businessman. I don't know if one speeding ticket has been public he's gotten. I don't know. Nope, you know what I'm saying? So this should be something. If you take away the whole hate because of the people who love Jordan, a father staying around the game 21 years or 22 years to play with his son. It should be nothing but positives and nothing but a beautiful thing. Now, should his son be there? I don't know. I don't really care, because if somebody really watches the NBA without emotions, your 10th, 11th, 12th players on every team rarely touch the court anyway. Why can't it be LeBron's son sitting there with his warm-up song like everybody else doing? Everybody got 3 guys on the team that never play. So why can't it be LeBron's son? I see no problem with it.
Right.
The average team plays 9 players.
I think the only thing I kind of think of with that, and I hope that it does not happen, is that they put Bronny in his dad's shadow too much and not respect him as an actual player.
Well, when you say they, that's a good point. And when you say they, that's a good question. Because when you say they, the media could do it, but the barbershop, the streets, people do it And it's funny, they play that game with LeBron when they want to use LeBron to beat his son up. But again, nobody's compared to LeBron other than Jordan and Kobe. So why should his son, so it should be that should really be a non-conversation. He should be able to grow in his own light. And just because he's LeBron's son doesn't mean he should be hyper criticized. And by the way, if he's elevated for being LeBron's son, that's okay. Nepotism in sport. Look at the ownership to the team. Jeannie Buss runs the Lakers. You know why? You know why Jeannie Buss runs the Lakers now? Because her daddy bought them.
Exactly.
Okay. So nobody had a problem. I didn't see a lot of people texting and tweeting about that. Right. The guy who owns the Steelers, guess why he owns the Steelers? Because his grandfather and then his daddy and then him owns the Steelers. So it's okay. Exactly. I don't have no problem.
They're creating legacy.
Why not us? Why not us, Renee?
Exactly. We definitely as a people need to get better into creating legacy, which is, you would think it would be applauded. You would think it would be applauded, right? Exactly. You would think that they would. Unfortunately, some people have the mentality that they don't want to see others get ahead, and it's so sad. It's so sad. So I agree with you when you were saying that LeBron is loved and hated. I can definitely agree with that for sure. As a Jordan fan, and I'm still definitely a Jordan fan, but he was his person in his own right, just like LeBron is his person in his own right. And I think people need to stop. I hate to say comparing, but that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to compare. You mentioned even Pete Rose. He has records that have never been broken and probably never will be. Even with Dikembe Mutombo. Rest his soul and his short years on Earth. I consider him 53 or 50. Yeah, he's
58. He's 58, and that's 1 year older than me. So that scares me. But so to your point, Renee, you make a good point. You're a Jordan fan, but guess what? When you say you're a Jordan fan, when did Jordan retire?
Officially, or from which?
The last time
from which sport?
Jordan retired about 20 years ago. What other athlete has been haunted by somebody who hadn't played in 20 years other than LeBron?
Exactly.
Jordan,
that's what I'm saying.
When Jordan was doing his thing, they wouldn't hold it up. They wouldn't beat him over the head with somebody who was retired 20 years before him. That was right. The only person we doing this for is LeBron.
Exactly.
We didn't beat Jordan over here with Julius Erving and Oscar Robertson. We just let Jordan be Jordan.
And look how young LeBron was when he came into the league. Even Jordan, he came into the league young as well. But, for him to be in the league as long as he has been, to still be an active and thriving member of the league, I think it's just amazing.
Yes, and and you make a great point. So that's why Jordan. So I'm a Tar Heel fan. So I was a fan of Jordan his freshman year when he didn't start his first few games. So I was a fan of Jordan who was still on the bench. Most people in their lifetime don't remember when Jordan was on the bench. So from October, November, December of his freshman year in North Carolina, he backed up Buzz Peterson, who became friends with him. He was a backup. So I was a friend because I read recruiting magazines. Remember I told you I read recruiting magazines. So I knew Jordan was going to be good. So let me say this. Jordan had Dean Smith as a college coach. He came into the NBA at 21 years of age.
Right.
LeBron was 18. So because of those advantages, and Jordan's just having a different, he was groomed better in a better incubator. If you mean, the Tar Heels are a pretty good incubator. One of the greatest programs in the history of college basketball, of any college sport. Sure. So that's, to me, the difference. Is why I'll still say Jordan. But Jordan was he came into the league at the perfect time when it became a global game. It was becoming global, right? So it was perfect for Jordan.
For sure. Well, if you have just joined us, this is Let's Talk About It, a weekly podcast with your host, myself, RenaeThaDiva. Tonight, we do have special guest, sports analyst with us, Stacey Huff, and he has been giving us his opinions, his professional insights, and all about Josh on sports. So we've discussed the NBA, we've discussed the WNBA, the NFL, and even the MLB. So Stacey, I just say thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate your candor. And if you would please like, share, and follow Stacey on all of his social media. Go ahead and say that again for us, please, Stacey.
Okay, by the way, the actual, so this is you're a international show. So the website is makethepointradio.com. Click on that link. It's a radio link. You click that link in, you put it on your phone and save it to your phone. Click on the listen button. It's there every single Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. If you want those people that will Google and tune in the stations, it's 100.7 FM in the Midlands of South Carolina, 92.9 ESPN Orangeburg. My Facebook is just that name right there on your screen right there. And on Twitter, it's at Huffster Sports, at HUFFSTERSPORTS, at Huffster Sports. The YouTube channel is forthcoming. I got to go back and redo some things, but YouTube channel is coming. I want to be like RenaeThaDiva when I grow up. Have a YouTube following and all that as well. So she's inspiring me as well. I'm glad we got to talk about it. Shout out to my man Kenneth Brown, Legacy Entertainment. Shout out to everybody making it happen. I thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. Now I'll do it again whenever you ask. Okay.
Awesome, Stacey. I appreciate you. Thank you. We'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you. All right.
You have a good night.
You too, dear. Have a good night.
So if you have just joined us, this has been Let's Talk About It with me, your host, RenaeThaDiva, and we are on all social media. So make sure you are sharing, liking, following us. Please subscribe to our channels. Again, it is RenaeThaDiva, or our studio page, or both of them actually, our studio page, which is Legacy Entertainment Studios, on all social media as well, including our YouTube channel. So make sure you're like, sharing, and following. This has been, again, your host, RenaeThaDiva. I'll see you next week, okay? Bye-bye for now.